What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Becoming Roy podcast. I'm your host, Roy, and today I'm going to be giving a leadership crash course. But before we jump into that, for anyone that's new here, this show exists to help people discover who it is that they're made to be. And I do that by sharing the little bit that I know, sharing my journey on my pursuit to becoming, doing, and being the person that I feel I'm made to be. And I also will be having conversations with people that are living inspired lives, doing and being who it is they feel like they were made to be. I've been giving updates or trying to give updates on my journey. For anyone new here, you should actually watch the first episode to get to know a little bit more about me. But I am on a quest to lose 100 pounds, to get to 220 pounds or 10% body fat, whichever comes first. And it has been a roller coaster. It's been very challenging and difficult. The colder months are really hard for me to be a little bit vulnerable, which, speaking of vulnerability, I do feel like I need to make a podcast on vulnerability, an episode here pretty soon, because I keep hearing it from here and from there and from there, and I feel like God is trying to get my attention a little bit in that. But I do want to be vulnerable about the health pursuit. I've been in a super major slump. I feel like if you're watching these episodes, I feel like I just said that a couple episodes ago, but it was probably like the third episode. So I've been in a slump for a while, and for me, my slumps are bad. I mean, I just emotionally eat and run to food, and it's kind of crazy. Can you guys hear the honking? That's crazy, the fire truck. But to give you a little snapshot about how bad, not for empathy or not for sympathy or for pity or anything, but just to be vulnerable and candid, because one day I will get to 220 pounds and I want to remember these moments of how hard the hard was, how low the lows were. But a couple of days ago, I was getting dinner with a friend. He was running late, so I went through the drive-thru of Krispy Kreme and I got 2 donuts. And then we were meeting at Shake Shack, and I had a double cheeseburger, fries, and 10 nuggets. And then we were talking in there for a while, so I ordered another burger and a milkshake. And I think I probably had like 4,000 calories just that night. And that was just because I'm eating my feelings. That's really bad. Then I was like, all right, tomorrow I'll do better. And tomorrow was 3 days ago. And I haven't fully jumped on to just getting back on the horse and doing the thing. I have taken some steps, but the point that I'm trying to make is it's been hard and it's been bad, really bad, like the example I just gave you. So I have been trying to break things down into, can I win right now? And so this morning I was ready to go to McDonald's for breakfast. I woke up and I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And I said, I'm going to win right now. And I cooked my lunch. So for lunch today, I had chicken thighs and sweet potatoes, which is fire. And so I'm feeling like I'm not doing great, but I'm trying to just approach life and the journey in small wins. Even right now, it is like 67, 68 degrees outside right now. Everyone in the office left. It's like 3 o'clock, and I think most people left by lunch, and I stayed to do some work. But also, I wanted to do this episode because I've been putting it off. It's been a couple of weeks, and I'm trying to do one every week. And so that's my little update. But enough of that. Let's get right into leadership. Now, this episode is coming from 2 places. The first place that this is coming from is I love leadership. It's one of my favorite things, something that I've read probably the most on. I love reading books. Growing up, I would always read the book of Proverbs in the Bible because I was like, if I'm wise, then I can, just be more wise. And I've learned that wisdom is a good trait for a leader to have. And yeah, I'm just very passionate about leadership. And there are a lot of things about leadership that are like, there's some preconceived notions that I will be addressing. The second place that this episode on leadership is coming from is kind of petty, and it's because I can't stand bad leaders. Now, you could think of like, the extreme of the spectrum and, say a president or a pastor or a CEO, whatever. Sure, I'm not a huge fan of those people in positions, but I'm talking just like a small group leader or someone giving some sort of speech and they can't communicate well, or just any type of leadership. Someone, saying, I'm not talking about these big, high, lofty positions. I'm talking just like people that are in leadership that don't know how to lead or don't know what leadership is. So, and I was in a situation last week where I was just like, dude, what is this person saying? They have no idea what they're talking about. So I was like, I'm going to do an episode on leadership because I love it, but also because these people annoy me. So to get started, I want to address a preconceived notion of leadership. And it's that leadership is not just a position. Now, there is positional leadership where your manager is in charge of you and your boss at work is technically a leader in that space. But that doesn't mean that they have your respect. It doesn't mean you're going to do what they say promptly, willingly, happily. And so that's the first thing, is leadership is not necessarily a position. It's not restricted to position. And we can all lead. Leadership, simply put, is influence. Now, some of you have heard that before because it wasn't my bright idea. That's not my definition. I am extremely influenced, at least my leadership ideology, by John Maxwell. I've read tons of his books, listened to tons of his seminars, and that's where a lot of my leadership ideology comes from. It also comes from Jesus Christ. If you're not Christian, I promise this isn't a super Jesus down your throat podcast. I do talk about my faith, but I've had a very interesting experience with religion that is not great, like a lot of people, but I have a whole episode about that. So go back to my episode on why I doubt God to know a little bit more about my religious trauma, past, whatever you want to call it. So leadership is influence, okay? And you have influence as a sibling. You have influence as a coworker, as someone that just talks to people. You have influence literally everywhere you go. And I'm not talking just influencers. I mean, some of you are influencers online. This is the same thing. You are a leader. If you are influencing somebody, you are a leader. And so that's the first thing. And the big idea that I kind of want to present on leadership, this is like an entry level crash course, if you will, is I need you listening that wants to become a better leader to understand that leadership is like relating to people. It's kind of transactional. Okay. I'm going to use some transactional verbiage here. Okay. And the first thing is you need to be making deposits relationally. You think of this idea of deposits and withdrawals and transactions. My mind goes to an ATM. Okay. Now, if I want money and I go to make a withdrawal from the ATM to get some money, if I don't have any money in the account, then I'm not going to be able to pull anything out. Okay. I recently was listening to some friends tell me about a thing that they were helping to lead, and like the kids aren't listening to me and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, what are you doing for the kids? Because if you're constantly saying, hey, stop talking, hey, stop talking, hey, listen, hey, do this, that's withdrawal, take, ask. Dude, of course they're not going to listen to you. Why would you listen to someone when all they're doing is trying to take? If I boil it down, I'm changing the idea a little bit. But if you're just saying, hey, do this, what are you doing for me? The manager at the restaurant that I work at, that I'll do anything for or go above and beyond for, I'll stay a little late for, come in early, whatever. It's because they'll buy me dinner when I do stuff for them. Or they see me, and when I ask for something, they help me. They have made deposits into me. So I'm like, okay, if you need this, I'll do that. It's the same thing at a lot of the jobs that I've worked. When they have done something for me, I am more compelled to do something for them. Now, you could look at that as an alternative motive and, they're just trying to get something out of me. Sure, but that's up to you and the way that you conduct yourself. Okay? That is the way that the way that you choose to approach things. Because if you are just doing something so you can get something out of someone, that's actually manipulating. It's manipulation. So listen, don't hear what I'm not saying when I'm saying stuff like that. In the instance of my students aren't listening to me in my small group, I'm leading middle school boys and they're not listening to me, bring those kids candy. Straight up. Just bring them food, and learn people's names. My favorite book that I read every year is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And he says in one of the chapters that there's no sweeter sound in any language than the sound of someone's own name. And so true. And so a little tip on remembering names is say it right back to them. If I meet somebody, their name is John, I'll say, instead of saying, hey, it's nice to meet you, I'll say, hey, John, nice to meet you. And try to say their name again, a few times while you're talking. And learn to talk to people. Okay, so I'm kind of trying to give a little progression of the way things go. Say their names, but then ask something about them. Dale Carnegie also says, if you want to be interested, if you want to be interesting, be interested. All right? People will be interested. They'll find you interesting if you're asking them questions about themselves. Ask about their family. Ask, hey, are you working on anything cool right now? What do you do for work? Asking questions about them to get them to let up, because people love to talk about themselves and people love to talk, period. You know what I'm saying? You might say, oh, I don't like to talk. No, yeah, you do. Just what's that thing that gets you going? So learning someone's name, trying to say their name. Now, let's say I'm bad at names. So if I meet John and I forget John's name, and I have another friend over here, Sue, I can say, hey, Sue, have you guys met? And then naturally, they're going to introduce themselves, and I'm going to hear John say his name again. Okay, these are like simple little things that you guys can do. And then another thing for remembering someone's name is I actually have a note in my phone. My phone's on the table over there, so I can't show you, but it's a note that says, remember these names, and then there's a quick little description about them. And so it's really funny, and I kind of hope some of these people never see their descriptions. And I'm kind of sad that I said this, because I know some of you are going to ask me, what's the description in my phone? And some of you I'm not going to tell you, because some of it's like you had a giant head, or I don't know, goofy mustache, whatever. So I do something that helps me remember. And then when I'm scrolling on my phone or I'm going somewhere like the gym, I try to know people's names at the gym. I'll look at my phone and be like, okay, like big head dude is John, whatever. I'm making names up, obviously. But I do know John at the gym, and big head is not in your description, John, if you ever see this, which I don't know why you would. So yeah, remembering names is just next level, okay? Remembering names, making deposits, okay, into people, and leading by example is a huge thing as well. That might sound very redundant, but it's really true. And that is one of my favorite things to study on when I'm reading the Bible, is trying to find something that Jesus commands Christians to do that he didn't do himself. Jesus loved his neighbor. Jesus forgave. Jesus was patient. The things he asks us to do as followers, he has done himself. He picked up his cross. You know what I'm saying? Go down the list. When you're reading the Bible, ask, and you see a command, ask yourself, did Jesus do this? And 99% of the time, it's going to be yes. The only things that I've kind of found that he hasn't explicitly done, but asterisk, I guess, he definitely didn't have kids physically. So, it says be fruitful and multiply, but that was a command directly to Adam and Eve, whatever. You can find things, but I haven't found anything good. It's like Jesus didn't do that. Jesus did everything that he asked us to do. And I think that the best leaders are the ones that are cleaning toilets. They are mopping. They're cleaning the floor. They're not afraid to do the dirty thing, quote unquote dirty thing, the dirty job. And they're like, my position doesn't make me better than anyone else. And so leading by example, okay, that's huge. Knowing people's names, making deposits. These are just a few things that you guys can do to become better leaders. Okay. And I have two more points that I want to say. Just this is like a really quick, off the top of the head crash course on leadership that I'm giving here now. Just back to the point of being interested in people. This is one of the points that made me want to make an episode on leadership. Some of you just need to shut up. Seriously, some of you need to shut up. And I say that with fervent love and annoyance, because some of you, I've been guilty of this. I'm very guilty of this. So you just like to talk. And I say I'm guilty of this because I'm sitting down with a microphone talking to nobody. That is crazy. But specifically in the context of when someone else is talking. Okay? You guys, we have to listen. We have to not listen to respond, but listen to hear, listen to understand. So many times I've caught myself listening to somebody talk, and I'm already thinking, how am I going to respond to what they're saying? And I stop hearing what they're telling me. Well, maybe I hear what they're saying, but I'm not listening to the words they're saying. And we have to listen to people. Now, this episode is only for people that give a shit about leadership, that give a shit about influencing and have some sort of responsibility or a sense of responsibility to be a good steward of the gifts that you have. If you're watching this, you're probably leading in some capacity or have some desire to lead. So I'm not telling everyone in the world to shut up. I'm telling you that wants to be a better leader, you that wants to care for people. Stop talking and listen to what people are saying in conversation. Because, man, some of you guys like to talk, myself included. The specific example that I'm thinking of for this is I was in a small group recently, and I was new at this group, and the small group leader would talk. It was very long-winded. I can't stand long-winded speakers when they are kind of going in circles. And this individual was long-winded. And then when other people were talking, this person was like writing stuff in the journal, flipping through their Bible. And it was like they were clearly trying to write out the thoughts of the next thing they were going to say while this other person was sharing. And it was very evident that the leader was not listening to the person in the small group that was talking, was trying to figure out what to say next. I was like, dude, just listen. Just listen. Listening is huge. Okay. And then the last thing that I'll say on leadership, I'm trying to remember on my notes. I'm going to look really quick. Sorry, I was trying to not look at my phone. Oh, yes. 2 more things. Oh, this is great. I remembered most of them. Okay, so I need you, aspiring leader, you current leader that wants to be better. I need you to be approachable and be humble. Okay? I love Ralph Waldo Emerson's quote. It's probably my favorite quote. He says that in every way, a man is superior to me in every way, and in that he is my teacher, or in that I can learn. The point, I totally botched that, but the point being is we can learn something from everybody. Okay? Kind of ties hand to hand with stop talking, shut up, and listen. Okay? But if we just think that we have it together because we have the position, you're going to be humbled. Okay? And if you take stock and evaluate the best leaders that you have or the best leaders that you can think of, they're open to have a conversation. They're not afraid to have tough conversations. They're probably very kind and approachable, even in disagreement. That is a crazy talent skill to have, is to be kind and gentle and approachable, even when you differ opinions. And so be approachable, okay? Lead by example, okay? This kind of goes to be the person that cleans the toilets and takes out the trash, doing the thing, the quote-unquote lowest things, because it levels the playing field. Because the best, not the best, but a great mark of a good leader is whatever you're leading will run without you. Yeah, that's it. A great organization, a great program, a great workplace, restaurant, a great business, fill in the blank, should be able to operate without you. If you've done your job as a leader, everyone should be empowered Everyone should know. Okay. How long will something last when you leave? If things are contingent on you, then you have some more work to do in your place of leadership and in raising people up. Okay. It gets to a point of empowering, and it gets to a point of like more inspirational and just supporting. Okay. John Maxwell goes more in depth about this in the levels of leadership. If you're interested more on that topic, there's that. But then the very last thing, and if you made it this far, I know you have this. If you clicked on this podcast, I know you have this. But it's simply to be earnest. It's to simply be sincere and take this serious. Being a good steward of the gift that you've been given. Because some of you are just natural leaders. And when you truly prepare for a speaking engagement, or you prepare and think ahead of time. I mean, I took notes. I'm trying to get better at my communication. But when you have an opportunity to communicate and you're ready to share, that's so, I don't know the word, beautiful. Like, oh, you take this serious. You're actually learning. You're actually getting the help that you need so you can be a better leader. You're actually being healthy yourself. Okay. You're actually exercising yourself, or, whatever it is. Going back to the point that I made about Jesus, like he did everything that he asked us to do. Like we have to be earnest and serious about our position of leadership and our position of influence. Just kind of does a disservice to others, because what happens is then you become whether you intend to or not, are a bad leader to somebody. They're looking up to you, and now their perspective on whatever position you had, their perspective on leadership is a little bit more skewed. I've been done dirty many times by different leaders that I've had. And yeah, some of it's their fault, but some of it I'm like, they didn't have a leader to lead them. They were doing the best they had. So what am I going to be upset with them for? Or I think about my parents sometimes. My parents were kids raising a kid. If I had a kid when my parents had a kid, I would have a 9-year-old son right now. That's insane. I'm still figuring stuff out. I don't know anything. And it's not to knock. That wasn't a knock, but it's like just this understanding of it's a real responsibility that we have to take this serious so we can lead other people well. So that's kind of all I have on leadership, at least on the top of my dome. I'm really just doing this because I'm leaning into something a friend told me, that done is better than perfect. Still trying to prepare, but I just get this analysis paralysis where I'm thinking about, is this going to be perfect? Is this exactly how I want it? And then I don't do anything. And I'm trying to just put stuff out there and kind of build the plane as I fly it a little bit. And so that's it. If you've made it this far, that is insane. Mom, if you made it this far, I don't think I yawned once in this take. Fingers crossed. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Control what you can control, and make it a great day. See ya.